Hello, welcome again to All Our Pieces Poetry Show. It's April 2018 and we're thrilled to be here sharing with you some poems about spring.
So this poem is by my neighbor, my 88-year-old neighbor, Don Ramage, who's in my apartment building. And it's called Ah, Spring. Just when the days are warm, not cool, New England snickers, April Fools. New England states of all the land keep weather-wise the upper hand to tempt and tease us tauntingly, joke us with the snowstorm in April, along with the crocus.
I'm going to add this poem called Easter and Uncle Otek. He was our favorite uncle. He and Aunt Helen did not have children, so they made a big fuss over my family, and he would bring us an Easter egg hunt to our Jewish family, and we loved it. All right. Easter and Uncle Otek. Uncle Otek returns for me every Easter, walking through the backyard of my childhood, holding a paper bag of candies, searching for places a child can reach. I hear his musical voice whispering over the emerald grass to my blind sister. Hot, hot, he coaches in a Czech accent. She laughs and tiptoes to the left. No, hot! Down she bends. Warm, warm, now you have it. Her fingertips touch chocolate eggs the color of plowed earth. In the bicycle basket, I find pastel-painted marzipan fruits. My brother knocks down gold coins from the branches of a pear tree to lift out milk chocolate discs. Every Easter, Uncle Otek returns with his white Manhattan shirt and balding head easily seen as he conceals our goodies. He watches us from the thin veil of death, giving us his sweet gifts and thinking we don't see him.
Called CC and the Team. Being the only girl on the high school varsity cross-country team wasn't as easy as it might seem. It was a travesty to many in the mid-1970s. My running times qualified me better than some of the guys. Still, I wasn't allowed on the team until my coach intervened. I had very thick hair to my waist that I hid in because of my unibrow and upper lip hair, uncool clothes and uncool shoes, very smart in school, considered a nerd, low on the high school totem pole. I didn't understand what was happening to me, all this attention so suddenly. From girls who stopped me in the halls to class, appalled that I was doing this. I didn't understand their angst. I just liked running long distance. Coaches that taught me in my classes looked at me through different glasses. The guys on my team started calling me CC for cross country and the initials of my name at the time. They would yell, "Hey, CC," when I entered a classroom. Then the teachers would ask, "What does that mean?" Then I told them I was on their team. I became an overnight celebrity, unbeknownst to me. My running times were really good. I kept up with my team, not only in running, but on the workout and weightlifting scene. There were many famous jocks in there as we lifted weights, along with my team. We lifted weights together, and the guys on my team would say, "Go, CC, you can do better, you can do better." There was a wall in the main hallway where the jocks and cheerleaders hung out. They claimed this space for themselves. No one would dare breach this territory. But one day as I walked by, along with my fellow nerds, they called to me yelling, "Hey, CC!" They wanted to talk to me. So I cracked the foundations of the school hierarchy, unknowingly, and walked to speak with them. As I continued to compete, guys with fathers in the stands would beg me not to pass them. They could never live this down if they were beat by a girl. so I slowed down and let them. The guys on my team initiated me, leading me into a guy's locker room at an all-boys school at changing time. I was mortified. Next, I laughed and yelled and punched them in the arms. They, feigning injury. My team then lined the steps as I walked out and cheered. They had planned this all along. I still had to find a bathroom in there. They all wanted to sign my paper letter that I wore during a race. They wrote some things I didn't understand and asked them to explain. They did with a gleeful delight. I was like a sister to them that they felt like teasing. They liked to shock me. On the bus to meets, I always sat up front, because once they shined their bums out the windows to a bus that was passing us, to a nasty, stuck-up team that we had beat, I lowered myself under the seat. This was a bit too much for me. The act of long-distance running is all in the breathing. Times running when I just wanted to stop. The burning in my thighs and lungs made them numb. I felt like I couldn't go on. A force took over me that bypassed my struggle and my body. Don't know what it was exactly, and made me go on even when I didn't feel strong. The same for life. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And create your own rhythm. And know that grace will overcome what you see as overwhelming. Just don't leave the race, because it was intended for you. I remember the brothers on my team with great fondness. We inspired each other to keep on running and pushed each other to achieve our highest potential.
Great, thank you. That is so neat. Now it's so visual, and I can't imagine what that was like, but you've really given us a great picture.
It wasn't brave for me at all. I just loved running long distance. The reactions that I got taught me so much about cliques and people, and so yeah. Yeah,
but I don't know, if I had to go to the bathroom really badly and they just ushered me into the boys' room and they're all changing in there, I think I would have said, this is my last day.
I'm not going back in there. You know, when they were lining the stairs and cheering, I ran that race with a full bladder, and man, it hurt, but I did that to defy them. But
okay, we're going to switch gears again. This is called Tulips for Breakfast. I read the flowers at breakfast today, purposely pushed aside the daily news, set my hungry eyes on the first flowers of spring plucked from Phil's garden. In the clear vase, an uneven mix of tiny narcissus and giant tulips towered over my coffee mug. I marveled at the sweet pink brushstrokes of God's genius, smiled at the indigo star radiating from the tulip's center. I chuckled at the proud green pistil oozing a juicy drop of something silver at its tip, surrounded by 6 purple males in waiting stamens who swayed with their fuzzy anthers, releasing their pollen into Queen Pistil's crown. Sipping my Java, I read the joy between the lines, thanking the sunburnt hands that picked those cherished beans, awed at the power of his love that finds its way to greet me every morning. A tear dropped onto my toast. I uttered a cry heard by my startled cat. How much you love me, Lord. How much you love me.
I like how you did that. You really captured what a tulip's essence is and what they look like very well. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just love the kitty, though. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I can picture that, too.
Okay. This one is called No Rush. I think there's a poem about my mother in every session here. This was her when she was trying to make up her mind what to do with what happens after she dies. You know, this whole process was like about 20 years. No rush. The first spring day in Maine that really felt like spring, soft green grass, damp and lumpy, slightly overgrown, bending over the cool earth, like me with my pink garden gloves, sweeping over the grass, picking up the young pruned apple branches. I smell the burning fuel of the chainsaw as Phil works around the yard, his greasy old hunting vest bright as a new daffodils dotting the lawn. A wave of contentment flows through me. Today we plan and prepare our garden plots. Images of visiting Mom in Connecticut begin. Late 1980s. Whenever I arrived, Mom would grab my hand and steer me into her garden. You have to see the towering cosmos, as if I could miss them. The violet, pink, orange, and red dots leaning atop long, willowy stems. And the broccoli. You gotta pick some. We'll have some for supper. And she bent down to cut some of the side shoots. You could pick the parsley, she said. I snipped more than we needed and crunched on the extra mouthful behind my mother's back, as if she would mind. How tidy her garden was. Wild flowers grew alongside the carefully cultivated vegetables. Wood chip paths curved around healthy tomatoes. Flowers chatted with the bees, and a sturdy wooden gate embraced the happy plot. Last fall, my mother moved to Florida, to a retirement village the size of a town, populated by her relatives and friends. There, other former Jewish refugees lived the rest of their well-earned life in comfort, convenience, and luxury. Before Mom left Bloomfield, she tended her garden for the last time. She gave away her flowery friends to her African-American neighbors. She sold the gate, tilled the land, leaving it ready for the next phase of its life. It returned to the bland expression of a blank lawn, part of the apartment complex. "This'll be my last move," she said on her 79th birthday. Mom doesn't have time for gardens now. She dances at the Gold Coast and dines out. She has more friends than she had plants. My mother listens to the other retirees. She witnesses aging beauty, considers more cosmetic surgery, hears conversations at the pool, diseases, doctor appointments, grandchildren. She has moved into a fourth-floor condominium with mirrors in every room and a view of the landscaped grounds. She called me yesterday. I changed my will again. I hate this subject. It was only a few years ago that she had informed me that she bought a plot for me in Connecticut. I would be buried next to her in the old Jewish cemetery. Remember, next to Kinney Park, near our old house? Would I like that? Oy, does it have an art supply store? A thrift store we can browse in? A bagel shop nearby for lunch? I asked. She laughed yes. I replied, "As you wish. I am honored." But I was embarrassed. She provided for me what I did not even wish to face. Yes, I'll be there, I told her. Then I smirked. No rush. Then came another call. I changed my will again. I don't like the old Jewish cemetery. It wasn't what it used to be. The Jewish neighborhood turned into a ghetto of poverty and crime. I don't want to be there. It isn't home. She said, "Cremation." I sold the plots. I want cremation. Oy, I try to picture my dear mother as ashes. Oy, I feel sick. I say, "As you wish, Mom. No rush." So here we are now in 2001. The phone rings. Phil runs inside and calls me to the door. "It's your mother." I pick it up. I changed the will again, she starts without even a greeting. I say to God, next life, no Gemini mother. Now what? Forget cremation, too messy. What will you do with the ashes? I don't want to burden you with the ashes. It's too expensive. I can barely talk. Feels like I swallowed a beef tomato. Oy, what now? I asked feebly, wondering what alternatives are left. I am donating my body to science. Oy, what could be worse? She must have heard my heart drop. I can help others and it costs less. I won't be a burden. A burden, I cry. How could you be a burden? It is an honor, but you don't have the money, she said. I don't know if I'm choking on the subject of death, my inferior finances, or her new idea. But Mom, it's an honor to love you in life and in death. Now I held back tears, but she spewed forth more good reasons. Exhausted, I croaked out, as you wish, no rush. I went back to the broken branches, scattered over the fresh spring grass, grasped a handful, tossed the bundle into the wheelbarrow. Phil was sawing off the dead branches of the old apple tree. He looked up at something and he shut off the chainsaw. Hey, Judy, do you want me to leave you this child's swing in the tree? Oh, I love swings, but no, I don't think I have time for swings. Running to a young tree that Phil had nourished with ashes from the wood stove, I cried as I picked up the last broken branch I could find. Tears dribbled into my mouth as I watched him take down a rusty swing from the old tree. I sobbed as the old limbs fell. The whole yard had a new face without the old branches, the old swing. I helped Phil drag away the hollow sections. We studied some chunks, admired the shapes, the lines of age. Some were too interesting to burn for firewood. Perhaps I could use one as a planter. Perhaps I could plant a memorial garden for Mom right here when the time comes. Her spirit will be with God and nature, and her body will be, her body will be with some vague thing called science. I remembered Dennis Cameri's poem about heart transplants. He said organs have memories that live in new hosts. Someone in my future could crave cosmos in her garden, or have to waltz, or eat schnitzel. I want to be near someone called Judy. Is donating organs like becoming seeds? The yard was clear and ready for plans. See what develops. Maybe Mom will call. No rush.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Nobody likes to talk about this subject.
Well, no, she just changed her mind so much. Yeah, that's incredible. So what did she end up doing?
Well, Mom finally passed away in 2017, actually, the official date.
Right.
And she passed away in her sleep.
I mean, what were her burial arrangements finally?
Cremation, because
they're not going to take a 97-year-old body.
No.
Okay.
Well, she died in her sleep and she passed on, and when they did find her, they said, my God, she's got a smile on her face.
Awesome.
You can't do better than that.
No, you can't. This one's called The Hawks and the Rocks. Once there was a hawk with rocks tethered to its talons, which caused him to sink into the mud. The mud was the question, why? He flapped incessantly against the wind, not getting anywhere, flapping against what is. He thought, why am I here while all my brothers soar on the winds above? The rocks were twins, called guilt and regret, causing the hawk to be stuck in one spot. Why do we flap incessantly against what is? We keep asking why did this happen, why, instead of soaring on the wind currents of our lives. This life we have been given is a gift. Why cannot be answered here in a way that we would understand, I consider why a dangerous question.
Okay, so one more. This is called the Silver Teapot. You've been gone a long time. I can tell by the amount of tarnish on my silver teapot. I gently rub off a dirty amber cloud. We are just a friendship, but before this lifetime, who knows? When you lived here, we explored dusty flea markets and antique shows. You led the way, and I watched you find the perfect object of art among crowded, tacky, and chipped old trash. You first polished this pot, saw it was fit for a queen, with its regal sweep of handle and its long, ornate spout, slim and sensuous like the arm of a princess sitting on sturdy, curvy legs. It spoke of English dynasties, a jet set of dainty china, matching linen dabbing aristocratic lips, a teapot for high tea, poured by a servant in a starched white apron who held her breath, afraid of a spill, who vanished with the whole estate. But you brought it into our present. You saw its worth and beauty. You rubbed off the decades of grime, polished it clean to reveal its grandeur. Many birthdays ago, you gave it to me. Now, when you come to visit, I polish the teapot and enjoy again the moment when I see our reflection shine.
Very nice.
We do a lot of looking back, looking forward, and being in the present.
Yeah, I would say that.
I'd like to ask the viewers again, once again, as we always do, to please write us and tell us what you think of our show. We're open to anything, aren't we? And we'll see you in May.
See you in May.